Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with a bit of a different video. I'm going to be going over everything you need to know about the tournament I'm going to be hosting a week from today as of recording this. Sunday, September 9th, 2018, the Paymaster's Bounty is going to be played, so everyone is welcome to join, both new and experienced players, and judging from the 23 players already signed up, we do have a good mix of new and experienced players, so definitely looking forward to the tournament. I've had a number of questions about the rules, faction selection, different sorts of things, and just for those of you who are new to using Challenge, the website that I'm using to host this, which is typically the site that most of the Warhammer community tournaments are hosted on, I just wanted to go over everything for you guys who may be new to this and who may have some questions, hopefully answer everything. Of course, if you have more questions, feel free to ask down in the comments below. And for those of you guys still on the fence about joining, there's really no harm in joining. The tournament is going to be fought in a Swiss style, which means everyone plays every round. Let's go down to the bracket here, and this will make a bit more sense. So you can see currently we have 6 rounds planned. This is how long the tournament's going to be, and you will play every single round, win or loss. Then at the end, everything gets tallied up into a bracket here. As you can see, currently everything's 0-0, obviously, because the tournament hasn't started yet. But once these things get added up there, then the players with the best record will rise to the top. And, of course, there are various tiebreakers for if they have the same record and so on. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great way to earn experience playing against experienced players. Not only watching them play, but playing against them, seeing how they tackle different matchups in different situations, how they react, getting the experience of playing against them yourself. And it's also not super high pressure. I mean, I do have a prize pool, but again, it's not like you're going to be eliminated if you lose. So each round is just a best of 1. So you'll play 6 games against 6 different opponents. For the faction selection, because it's a Swiss-style tournament, you'll pick one faction and use it the entire time. So, for example, if I were playing in this tournament, which obviously I'm not because I'm hosting it, I would be playing the Empire. So, for my name on Challenge, I would go ahead and list that. You can see some people have already done so. Regina, for example, picking Averlorn specifically, which is a nice example of if you want to pick one of the sub-factions that has unique units, you have to pick them specifically, Averlorn, Followers of Nagash, and so on. Lizardmen for Red Salamander, Loremaster Sotek, of course, playing Lizardmen, so it kind of shows that there. However, in any game, you may declare to your opponent that you are choosing any of the following. So you can choose any of the following factions, but you have to play with one of the lords listed. So I'm playing the going off of the example again for myself, I'm playing the Empire in this tournament. However, let's say I come up in a matchup where I don't necessarily want to play the Empire, or maybe just for fun I want to take one of these other guys. So I tell my opponent, okay, I'm going to option into the Vampire Counts, and I don't necessarily have to tell them what lord I'm taking, but my opponent will know, because that's not my declared faction for the entire tournament, I have to take one of these 3 lords. So if I'm going to be taking the Vampire Counts, I have to take either Helmengorst, Isabella von Karstein, or the Master Necromancer. Again, if you were to declare Vampire Counts as your faction to use throughout the whole tournament, you could use any lord you wanted, but then if you wanted to switch to the Empire, let's say, you could only use Karl Franz or the Archlector. I hope that makes sense. There is going to be a prize as well. If you look down here at the bottom, the Hero of the People prize, which is pretty substantial, 50 bucks, which is more than 2nd or 3rd place. I'm really trying to incentivize people to use these meme lords here. But whoever gets the most wins with these lords listed here will get the $50 prize. Now, you do need to submit replays as evidence, so be sure to save your replays if you plan on going for the Hero of the People prize. But, you do have that option available. First place prize is going to be $100 US, second place will be $35 US, and third place will be 15. So, yeah, there is some prize money involved. Nothing crazy substantial, but certainly for the people at the top, there is some incentive, and there's also an incentive to play around with some of these more fun lord choices. So, yeah. In terms of the rules of play here, you guys can click on these 2 links for the rules of play and the army limits. The rules of play are the Warhammer Cup rules. For those of you who have played in tournaments before, you're going to be familiar with them. If you haven't, be sure to review these. It's more or less straightforward. It's basically just all about sportsmanship and being a good sport in general. Big shout out to Pippington, by the way, for making these awesome kind of rule books for us to use. So the wait times, I have my own specific wait time rules, but just in general, the whole idea here is that you need to be courteous to your opponent. The goal is for everyone to have fun, for everyone to have good times. So, you know, there's rules about corner camping / line camping. There's rules about just camping in general or draw kiting. You know, so there's rules that stipulating that you must attack and what constitutes attacking, so be sure to review those rules. I'm assuming most new players won't necessarily be trying to draw kite anyone, but you know, there have been issues in the past with previous tournaments, not that I've run, of course, but that other people have run, so that's why these rules are in place. Just be sure to review them so that you, I mean, it's not a big issue, but you want to be aware of them, certainly. The more important rules I would say for you to review if you're new are the army limits. Now, it may seem a bit daunting at first, but it's actually pretty easy once you drill down into it. Each army has a cheat sheet, but in general, the rule of thumb is for unit models with 46 models or more, you max 5 units and your max spend is 4,600. For 2 to 45 unit models, so like cavalry and stuff, your max 4, max spend 4,600. So what that max spend means, like for a unit that's more expensive, for example, like Grail Knights, you couldn't bring 4 of them because that would be more than 4,600 maximum spend on a single unit. You could only bring 3 of them. But a unit like Reiksguard, on the other hand, is low enough in cost that bringing 4 of them wouldn't break the maximum spend. So, hope that makes sense. You can only ever have 2 single entities of the same type, and 3 single entities total. There are certain units that are count as super weapons, which will be denoted in the army sheets by this nuclear blast icon here. And the great thing is there are individual cheat sheets for individual armies. So my advice to you guys is whatever army you've picked to use throughout the tournament, just go ahead and scroll to that specific army. So again, for myself, I would be taking the Empire. So if we go to the Empire cheat sheet here, it shows me exactly the limits for each individual unit. So limited to 5, every infantry unit pretty much falls under that category. Limited to 4, you can see Pistoliers. There's also a few other rules. The bow icon here is denoting a unit with Parthian shot, which means they can shoot 360. You can only ever bring a maximum of 6 total 360-degree shooting units. Of course, the Empire only has 1, so they really could only ever bring 4, but like the Wood Elves, for example, you couldn't bring, like, you know, 4 Glade Guards with Hagbane tips and 3 Way Watchers. That would be breaking the rules because you have 7 units with Parthian shot, if that makes sense. Again, icons here are all denoted. The kind of monster paw icon is the icon for the monsters. Single entity monsters, you're allowed 3 in total. Again, 2 of the same type. So yeah, hopefully that kind of is clear. Again, if you guys have any questions about the army limits, feel free to ask, but these cheat sheets do make it pretty clear on what exactly the army limits are. Be aware that mounts do count towards monsters, so you can see dragons here. All variants count as the same unit, including mounts. So you couldn't take you know, Prince on a Sun Dragon and 2 more Sun Dragons, because that would be 3 total Sun Dragons, right? Star Dragon is listed as a super weapon, so you couldn't take a Prince on a Star Dragon and a Star Dragon separately, because that would be, again, 2, which you're only allowed 1. So, again, hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, the army limits are probably the most important thing for you to review if you're new, but generally, the rules are intended to just make sure that everyone has a good time. It's, you know, incentivizing you to bring balanced armies, and hopefully with the prize scheme I've set up here, it also incentivizes you to use some of the sort of off-meta lord choices, and hopefully we'll see some good variety in that way. But yeah, in terms of signing up here, you can go ahead and click on the register page. This is the link that I have in the description below. We'll just take you directly to this page. Of course, I'm logged in as Daw Plays, so I could, since this is my tournament, I would have to sign up under a different name. But for yourself, you'll be able to just sign up directly here. It'll also have the same description on this page, so you can review everything. You can see who all is signed up already. So, you know, we've got like Romulan Dog, who's an experienced tournament player. I know Reptile King is not necessarily. I believe he said this was his first tournament. So Shadow is kind of a mid-level experienced player, I would say. He's been in a few tournaments, even hosted a few YouTuber tournaments himself, but not necessarily done a ton of the community-organized ones, I should say. But yeah, we've generally got a good spread of both experienced and inexperienced players, so even if you're not sure, if you're worried about just getting repeatedly stomped on by really good, like, top-tier players, there are a few top-tier players in here. I would certainly say that, like, Romulan Dog, ODM Slayer, Kark, Shetland Apache as well. They're all top-tier players, certainly. But, you know, we've got plenty of newer players in here as well, so don't be too worried about that. And again, even if you do lose a game or two, you're not going to get eliminated, so you'll still get to play all 6 games and have a good time. So, yeah, well, hopefully you guys have found this informative. Let me know down in the description if you have any other questions, comments. One thing I forgot to mention, this is being fought at 10 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. The check-in begins 30 minutes before, so if you've already signed up, great. Then you just need to show up. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes before, but sometime between, you know, 30 minutes before to the start of the tournament, you've got to check in on the challenge page, just to sort of note that you're present. And then once everyone's checked in, it'll reorganize the bracket when we're time to start. It'll drop everyone who hasn't checked in. So if maybe you've signed up and you found out that you have something that day, you don't necessarily need to worry about dropping the tournament. It will automatically drop you if you don't check in. So just don't check in if you want to drop out. But, of course, if you want to fight, then you do have to check in 30 minutes before, so just be aware of that. But I think I've covered everything. I may have forgotten a thing or two. You might see a pinned comment if I've forgotten something, but hopefully that answers all your guys' questions. Let me know if you have anything else. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you guys at the tournament, either as a spectator or as a player. Yeah, we'll see you next time.